How do you turn this on? God damn, it's cold!
It'll warm up once you're in it.
Fuck you, you come out here! Hey, throw me that whiskey.
Rolling. Sound? And action!
Man is an animal that thinks too much. An over-rational animal that's lost touch with its body and its instinct.
I like that. In other words, too much brain and not enough guts. So what he came up with to help our guts along was a parasite that's
a combination of aphrodisiac
and venereal disease that will hopefully turn the world into one beautiful, mindless orgy.
Hey, this is Finney McConnell from the Mahomes, and you're listening to The Kasey Ferguson Show.
Another life, it's cynical. In my thoughts, I'm part rock show. Welcome to the Kasey Ferguson Show. As you might suspect, I am Kasey Ferguson. This is episode 7 of the Kasey Ferguson Show and the first of 2014. So, Happy New Year, everybody. That was Brother Gray kicking off the show with an unreleased track called If It Kills. And as you may recall, on episode 5 of the Kasey Ferguson Show, I spun a Brother Gray track and said that the band had a bright future ahead of them. Well, not to toot my own horn, toot toot, but guess who just got signed to Madison Records? Brother Gray. I know what the fuck I'm talking about here, people, so congratulations to Brother Gray on their record deal, and remember, folks, you heard him here first. Now, being the immature motherfucker that I am, I have to bring this up. I was shooting the shit on Facebook a little while ago with Devin White, one of the guitar players in Brother Gray, and he informed me that lead singer Chris Pearson lives in a town called Cumming, Georgia. C-U-M-M-I-N-G, Cumming. Oh, man, I don't even know that I gotta make a joke here. Just insert your own.
You little, I'll teach you to laugh at something that's funny.
But enough of that bullshit. I got a great show lined up for you wildcats. I've got interviews on the way with John Corabi, former lead singer of MOTLEY CRUE, and part 2 of my chat with Mitch Markowitz from the legendary TV show The Hilarious House of Frightenstein and the movie The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind LEIGH. John W. Bowen of Rue Morgue magazine will be in the Chop Shop once again, this time discussing Stephen King. I'll have an acoustic performance by Tracy Morgan, aka Trace Oddity, and music coming your way from the Killer Dwarfs, DILANA, KICKIN, Valentina, and REVMATIC, amongst many others. So stay tuned, folks. Hailing from Flint, Michigan, this is Frequency 54 with Last Call on the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Never wanna see you again, and I see you're wanting this too. I'll pull you close to me, but you want the world for free. I won't give it to you. Right now, we're here. I know that you don't care, and I don't care about you. Let's call
This is Skull Man, and I'm rockin' large. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show.
I walk for miles along, and I walk for days until the sun was gone, the moon was longer too. And I ran the higher road, and I found a sample of the time I want. The mood was all I knew. And I touched a desert storm, and I felt the freedom of a life I want. The sun was hot, the feeling was brand new. Turn off my generator, turn off my moderator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got. Turn off my generator, my fuel accelerator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got. I swam a marathon, outswam the creature from the blue divide that hides inside of me. And I moved a simple man, I painted pictures of the life I got. Forget me not is all I ask of you. Turn off my generator, turn off my moderator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got. Turn off my generator, my fuel accelerator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got. Turn off my generator, turn off my moderator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got. Turn off my generator, my fuel accelerator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got. Turn off my generator, turn off my moderator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got. Turn off my generator, my fuel accelerator, and give it what you got. Give it what you got.
Kingston Transit has been making improvements to meet our city's transportation needs, including new and improved express service to the parts of town above the poverty line, new higher fares to help Kingstonians get rid of excess pocket change and disposable income, larger aisleways to stand in because, let's face it, we both know you won't get a seat, more detours, more transfers, and more people calling taxis. The new and improved Kingston Transit. This message was paid for by your tax dollars. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Never mind my style, it always seems to do me fine. Come on back my range, if you think that it's that great. Welcome to my life, watch it all come alive. Maybe Let's go to my room. You know my parents will be home soon. Come on, don't be late. You think that's really great. Welcome to my life. Watch it all come alive. Maybe that is why I lead a lovely, lucky life. Seems to me I see. Seems to me I'm afraid your mind starts falling away, yeah, when your lives are gray. Your mind starts falling away, yeah, when your mind's away. Your mind starts falling away, yeah, when your lives are gray. Your mind starts falling away, yeah, when your mind's away.
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. REVMATIC there was Seems to Me. Before that, all the way from Down Under, the first Australian act to be played on the Kasey Ferguson Show, Justin Murphy with Generator. And kicking off that set was a kick-ass band from Flint, Michigan that has shared the stage with Papa Roach, Hinder, the Las Vegas, and Smile Empty Soul, amongst others. Frequency 54 with Last Call. Now, a couple people asked me if I was going to do a Kasey Ferguson Show Christmas special. I said, no, I'm a Halloween guy. Then I was asked, are you going to play some Christmas songs? I said, no, the show's not going to come out till January. Then it was, oh, so you're not even going to acknowledge Christmas on your show? Christ on a cracker, not to be all bah humbug and whatnot, but not everybody's fucking crazy about the holiday season. Alas, before you roast my chestnuts on an open fire, Tracy Morgan is here and she's going to perform a Christmas tune that all of you festive fuckers might have missed out on over the holiday season. This one's got a familiar ring to it. I think Torontonians will especially enjoy the lyrics. Here is Tracy Morgan on the Kasey Ferguson Show.
All together now. 1, 2, 3, 4. The lights are all out. The power has died. The citizens pout. The citizens cry. Who the hell is running this town? He's getting real pissed, hitting the vice, saying Dan Dale's been naughty, not nice. Who the hell is running this town? We know that you've been smoking. We know that you are baked. We know that you've been bad, bad, bad. So resign for Toronto's sake. You better watch out. You better not cry. The branches are low. The mayor is high. Who the hell is running this town? He's making a mess, making no sense. Says the ice storm is just an inconvenience. Who the hell is running this town? He's making denials, none of them true. But don't you say so or he's gonna sue. Who the hell is running this town? He doesn't need a turkey or all that other stuff. 'Cause when it comes to eating, he's got more than enough. Oh, the lights are all out. The power has died. The mayor and the Leafs are making us cry. Who the hell is running this town? Who the hell is running this town? Mayor Ford is ruining this town. Merry Crackmas, everybody.
That's beautiful, man.
Thank you, Tracy Morgan, a.k.a. Trace Oddity, Unplugged on the Kasey Ferguson Show. The song is called Who the Hell is Running This Town? Let's head on over to the Chop Shop.
This is John Bowen from Rue Morgue Magazine.
And I'm Kasey Ferguson. Welcome to the Chop Shop. This time on the Chop Shop, John and I discussed Stephen King.
Oh, good God. What can you say? He's simply the most iconic writer the genre has ever known. he's changed it on a number of different occasions. He's left his imprint on it so many times, and he's shown what really works, which is bringing horror, no matter how outrageous it is, bringing it into the real world, and has done this through so many little, seemingly unimportant little quirks, like his obsession with brand names. You know, nobody smokes a cigarette, they smoke a Camel or a Marlboro, or nobody opens a can of cold soda, it's Dr. Pepper or Coke, which seems very mundane, but it's how you anchor something like Salem's Lot in the real world. It's how you bring a plague of vampires into a small town in Maine, is you make that small town life so much more vivid in a bunch of completely mundane details, and that's always been one of his great charms. I tend to agree with most people that he peaked in his early career and never quite got it back, but he still had enough great moments since then to always make him worth paying attention to. I haven't read any of his most recent novels, but people are still raving to me about Under the Dome and a few other things like that. You know, things that have come along in recent years. So I think he's still got it going on. It's a little more hit and miss than before, and you can certainly see when, you know, drugs and booze really got the better of him. Just if you go back and look at sort of the stuff he did in the mid to late 80s, and you know, everything's getting more and more overwritten. Things like the Tommy Knockers, you know, which could have been like about 1/4 as long. You know, it was certainly a good book, but it was just, come on, dude. Like, and then you find out later, well, it's because he was doing mountains of coke at the time, and well, that all makes sense then, doesn't it? You know, because that's the drug that would make you so ridiculously self-confident to think that this was a good thing, that overwriting this much and adding in more and more characters and more subplots and whatnot. You could see where that was where things really came off the rails for him.
Yeah, I think you should have read some more Hemingway at that point.
Yeah.
A little more economical, if you will.
Yeah.
You're listening to The Kasey Ferguson Show.
Ever heard of a little thing called the internet?
Have your say. Online polls and more at facebook.com/Kasey Ferguson Show.
Ah! For the love of God! There's no one else hear that infernal ringing? Oh yeah, sure, go ahead and laugh. But according to the latest research, tinnitus, which is what they call it, that's what I've got in my ear. I don't make this shit up. It's an actual disease. One time, Chris, you're all the night.
Slippin' and sliding, riding and gliding. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. That was Kickin' Valentina with Get Ready. Before that, you heard from Lisa Smith's Powerhouse with Red Door. Time for part 2 of my chat with Mitch Markowitz. Mitch is most known for his portrayal of the character Super Hippie in The Mosquito from the legendary TV show The Hilarious House of Frightenstein, which also starred Vincent Price and Billy Van. Mitch was also the head writer and associate producer of said series and is now garnering substantial praise for his role as the communication coach in the film The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Leigh, which was directed by the founder of Rue Morgue magazine, Rod Godino. We discussed Universal horror, how to get out of trouble with the cops, and inappropriate times to quote Goodfellas. But first I asked Mitch how he became involved in The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Leigh. His answer and more after this clip from the movie. This is Mitch Markowitz in The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Leigh on The Kasey Ferguson Show.
Close your eyes. Empty yourself of all your thoughts, all of your feelings, all of your worries. Empty yourself now. All that is left is yourself, the self you know, the self that is pure and safe. You are exactly where you want to be. Rod originally got in touch with me a couple of years ago in 2011 and asked me if I would appear at the Festival of Fear at the Fan Expo at the Toronto Convention Center. And he said they wanted to have a booth there and have me do a panel discussion as well as man the booth and sign autographs for the weekend to celebrate what would have been Frightenstein's 40th anniversary and, had he lived, Vincent Price's 100th birthday. Now, obviously, Vincent Price didn't live that long, but he has an adult daughter, Victoria Price. So they asked me if I would do that weekend with Victoria Price, do a panel discussion and man a booth for Frightenstein. And they had already contacted Victoria, and she had agreed to do it. And I agreed to do it because I love to meet Frightenstein fans. As a matter of fact, if there's ever a Comic-Con or that type of convention in your area, please make sure I get invited because I like to meet people who have watched the show and enjoyed the show over the years and talk to them and get photographs together and things like that.
Deal.
Anyway, the question was, how did I end up doing that? He invited me to do this Festival of Fear, and I did. We did the panel discussion, Victoria and I, and it was great. And unfortunately, she didn't know much about the show, so in the limousine on the way out to Hamilton from Toronto, she said, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to say. These people are going to ask me questions about Frightenstein, and I don't know anything about it. My dad, first of all, was a very busy man, doing one movie after another, and he didn't get a whole lot of time to spend with us, with his kids, and when he did, he didn't talk about his business. So she didn't know much or anything about the show. So anyway, I filled her in 120 words or less en route to Hamilton, so she had enough information to answer a few questions. Did the Festival of Fear, met Rod and all the gang at Rue Morgue, and then about a year ago, I got an email from Rod saying, remember me, Rodrigo Godino from Rue Morgue? I've just finished shooting and I'm in the post-production stage of my first feature film. I've done a couple of short films and they had critical acclaim, but this is my first feature film and I have a small but extremely integral part in the film that I thought would be perfect for your voice. Would you be interested? And I've done radio and I've done television and I've done lots of things, but I've never done a feature film. So it certainly piqued my interest. So I wrote him right back and said, sure, I'd be interested. And he wrote me right back. And as will be the case in show business, nobody seems to plan ahead. This was on a Tuesday. And he said, could you go into the studio and record your part on Thursday? Like 2 days. So I wrote him right back. And
that's a quick turnover.
Yeah. I wrote him right back and said, it's a good thing that we're not dating. We'd be going out today and you'd ask me, can we get married on Thursday?
Yeah, well, we can be to Vegas by morning. What do you say?
That's right. So anyway, I said, sure, I can do it Thursday. And he told me where the studio was. And I met him at the studio on Thursday. And he introduced me to the engineer who was going to do the recording. And I said, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Mitch Markowitz. And the engineer was not a tall guy, and Rodrigo is a tall guy. And he looked up at Rodrigo and he said, holy fuck, you're right. This guy's voice is absolutely perfect for this part. We went into the studio. They gave me my sides, as they say in the industry. That's your part that you're supposed to be reading or doing. And the studio was all dark at the time. They had my sides on a little stand, a music stand in front of me, and I was in a booth alone with a little light on the paper, and the engineer was out there on the other side of the glass, and Rodrigo was sitting on a sofa. And I read my part a couple times. Rodrigo directed me and, put a little more of this in there, put a little more of that in there, and blah, blah, blah. We did it back and forth for about an hour to get it all down. I did about, 4 takes, 5 takes. And then the engineer, a guy named Pino, great engineer, said, why don't you guys take a little walk now for 10 or 15 minutes, give me some time, and I'll rack it up to the video and put it together. Just a rough cut, just so you guys could get a feel for it. So we went outside and walked around for 15 minutes, came back in, and he had it ready. And he played it. Rod and I were sitting on the sofa. He played it back, and I said, oh my God, this thing scares the shit out of me. And it's my voice. and Rod and the engineer both said, that's nothing. Wait till you hear it in a real theater with a fabulous sound system and
the subs and
the whole thing. And he was right. I did, a month later or so, they had a screening at, what's it called? The new theater downtown where they had the film festival. Oh, I don't know. The name escapes me. But anyway, they screened it there for the cast and crew. And that was a real theater with real speakers, and it was great. It was amazing, if I do say so myself. Not just my part, but the whole film.
I'll back you up on that.
And my part was very scary, and it's interesting because it's not a long part, and it is just a voiceover part. You don't see me in the film. But Rod was totally right. It was an integral part of the film. And since then, we have now got about 220,000 hits on YouTube for the trailer. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, Rod decided to use a portion of my part on the trailer. The trailer is on YouTube, and as I say, we've had almost 250,000 hits, and lots of people leave comments after they screen it or they view it. And I've had tons of people who have said, oh my God, that voiceover, the communications coach, which is the part I play, scared the bejesus out of me when I watched it. My sister, as a matter of fact, wrote to me after she saw it on YouTube, and she said, oh my God, it scared the bejesus out of me, and she doesn't even use that expression. So that's how I got the part, and I was thrilled to be invited in to do it. And the fact that Vanessa Redgrave was the star made it even that much more thrilling, because she's obviously a huge worldwide superstar. She is an Academy Award winner, multiple award winner, and she agreed the same way. Basically, Rod got in touch with her. He had thought about 2 or 3 different women to do the part, but he had listened to something she had done. He thought it had that sort of haunting, sinister, deep, throaty kind of sound to it, and he got in touch with her and asked her if she would do it, and she agreed. And hers was, again, basically just a voiceover part, and it's great.
Yeah, you're kind of voiceover buddies in that one.
That's true.
Well, and that's one thing that I thought was really neat about the film is really, it's pretty much Aaron Poole's show for the most part. He really had to carry that on his own and emote alone for a lot of this stuff. But then, like you said, your voiceover is a very integral part of the film, and I got to hand it to Rod for casting you and Vanessa, because I think he did a spot-on job with that. I thought both choices, I can't think of anyone who could have done it better.
Oh, thank you, Kasey. It's quite a compliment, especially coming from you, because you've been involved in the industry and you've heard lots of voices and seen lots of movies and recordings and things and done your fair share. And that's a nice compliment coming from you. Thank you.
Very welcome. No less than Clive Barker is a fan of the film. It must be quite an honor for someone of his stature to speak so highly of the film.
It was. His was a great review, and that carries a lot of weight internationally. Rod took the film to the Cannes Film Festival, and again, getting back to flying, not my favorite mode of travel. My wife was angry with me right from the beginning that I didn't go with him, because then she could have come with too, of course. And we all could have gone to the Cannes Film Festival on the French Riviera, but I opted not to go. Anyway, he did quite well at the Cannes Film Festival, and then he took it to, 30 plus more film festivals all around the world after that, and it did real well. Won all kind of awards at all these different various film festivals. festivals everywhere. And he did a great job of casting. He did a great job of directing. He directed the film as well. He wrote the film. He hired some great people to do the sound and to do the cinematography.
Which is beautiful in this movie.
Thank you. It's true. The cinematography was seamless. I mean, it looked like the camera was floating in the air, and the music was done great. He did a great job, all around great job. And he's already working on his next film. And every time I speak to him or write to him on email, I keep saying, save me a part. I want to be in that movie. I loved working with you. He's doing a remake of a 1972 spaghetti western. It was called Cutthroats 9. And it's quite an amazing western film. And the bottom line in the film is, at the end, everybody dies. So it's perfect for Rodrigo, coming from his Rue Morgue background. And I'm dying to be in it.
I'd very much like to see what he would do with that. I definitely have a lot of faith in Rod. Like, I mean, even with Last Testament, it being his first full feature, I mean, in my eyes as a genre fan, I seen a lot of potential in his work. Even if it's not fully realized, if he just continued doing what he was doing, I would tune in again and again. So I'm very interested to see what he's got up his sleeve.
Yeah, well, that's been the consensus of comments that I've seen on the YouTube comments, and we've been reviewed by every genre magazine in the world. I mean, there are horror magazines everywhere. It seems like everybody in the world, all around the world, is interested in that genre. I mean, not everybody, but there are horror fans all around the world. And the comments from the majority of those fans is that they thoroughly enjoyed this movie and that they're all up and ready for whatever he spins out next.
Well, it's instant credibility too, right? I mean, founding a magazine like Rue Morgue, which has really become such an institution for genre fans, you know, they're going to tune in because they know this guy knows what he's doing. And, you know, it's sort of like this guy hasn't done as good of a job in my eyes so far, Rob Zombie. But you know that at some point he's going to do something great because he's got so much respect for the genre and the material that it's a matter of time before he really knocks one out of the park.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And the great thing from my perspective, from all of our perspective, everybody who's involved with the film, is that we had a built-in audience, if you will, because there's a Rue Morgue magazine in France, there's a Rue Morgue magazine in Mexico. Like, Rod has really reached out around the world, and they were all waiting for this. He was smart enough to put episodes on YouTube long before the film came out. I think he did 8 different episodes of the making of the...
Oh yeah, I think Feedback Andrews did that.
Yeah. That's true. So the world was waiting for The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Leigh. And then as soon as the film was released, they were going to theaters and buying DVDs and in various languages as well. It's funny because I've seen copies of it with people speaking Russian and speaking Spanish and speaking all kind of different languages. Somehow my part doesn't exactly come out the same.
Yeah, I was going to ask, having your voiceover part, that must be something different in Chinese or something.
It's something different is right. It's funny. And when I see it, they have subtitles, so I see it in all those various languages. It just kind of sit back and say, holy cow, you know. But there's enough of the world that speaks and understands English that I think I'm out there.
For sure. You've told me, and I don't want to out you here on the show, but you said that you don't watch a lot of genre films. You don't watch a lot of horror per se.
That was our secret.
Like I said, I don't want to out you here, so don't be hating on them here, folks. So the hell with the horror thing. What are some of your favorite films, period?
Well, actually, let me correct that, because I misled you, I think. I liked horror movies when I was young, and I used to have the bejesus scared out of me, as my sister says, when I was a kid watching the Frankenstein movies, the original Frankenstein movies, and The Mummy, and all of those sort of original movies with Lon Chaney and
Universal horror, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The Vincent Price and Lon Chaney and Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. I loved them all and scared the death out of me. After I would watch the movie The Mummy when I was a kid, and it was always on at night, obviously. I'd watch it at night, and I couldn't fall asleep for like 6 hours. I'd be looking around the room, and are they coming to get me? And so I did like horror. I guess as I matured well, let's rephrase that. I'm not sure I ever matured. But as I got older, I think I went in different directions. I like action movies. I like cops. I'm a big cop fan. As a matter of fact, a few years ago for a birthday present, when they introduced those personalized license plates, my kid brother got me a license plate that says LAPD, and named after the old television series Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. And I've been stopped and questioned about that for years now whenever somebody sees me. Actually, I got stopped by a police officer a few months ago for something, a minor traffic infraction. And he looked at the license plate.
Mitch Markowitz has a lead foot, folks.
He said, what does the LAPD mean? I said, well, what do you think it means? The Los Angeles Police Department. I'm a big cop fan. And he said, all right, don't do it again. Move on. So, no, I'm not a Freddy Krueger fan. I've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street and Pinhead and some of the other contemporary horror films. But like I say, I like action movies. I like police stuff. I like all kinds of things. And I guess there is no excuse. I'm just not into contemporary horror.
Well, but, coming up on the good stuff, like the Universal stuff, I mean, that must have been just such a phenomenal experience. Like, I can only imagine. I mean, obviously every, horror fan or movie fan can trace back to their childhood, those moments in front of the TV, staying up late and watching these movies and stuff. But you were a part of that as it was happening. Certainly a lot closer to it than any of us watching the movies now. So that really must have just been something to experience horror in its golden age with the whole Universal era.
Absolutely. I still love the graphics and the artwork that was involved. The show cards and the posters they would have out in front of the theater and things like that. I mean, I still find those scary. The Creature in the Black Lagoon. I think they were all great movies. And then they evolved maybe a couple of years later, to the sci-fi movies. Mm-hmm. Like War of the Worlds and the men who took over the world from Mars and the flying saucers, and they were quite hokey. But then again, so were the horror movies. No, the sci-fi stuff was hokier than the horror.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But I still love them, and I still watch them all the time. Whenever they come back on TV, I'm there. It's either that or Casino or Goodfellas.
Oh, you're speaking my language there.
Yeah, very limited tastes when it comes to what I watch.
Well, John W. Bowen from Rue Morgue is a big Scorsese fan as well. I mean, I guess who's not, right?
He's the man.
So, favorite character then in Goodfellas?
You know what? I love them all. I love Henry Hill. I love Jimmy. I love Nicky. I love them all. I know almost every line in the movie, much to my wife's chagrin. Because I'm quoting them all the time whenever it's appropriate, even when it's not appropriate. I come out with a line from Goodfellas or from Casino. As a matter of fact, I've probably seen Casino maybe 100 times. As recently as last night, actually, it was on again, and I was there beginning to end. Yeah, and I love I think it's the last line in the movie when he's basically the only one left. The boys back home basically got rid of everybody else to clean up. And he said, I'm still around because I can still pick the numbers. I can still earn for the boys back home. I just love those two movies.
I'm definitely, I guess, probably because I got the little guy complex too. Definitely the Joe Pesci. Mm-hmm. That is just a fucking wild man.
Yeah, absolutely. I love him. I love those scenes in both movies that he did. I think he's a great actor, and I'm not even sure he's acting. I think he's just a great character.
He's just like
and
that.
I love him, and pretty well anything he does, even comedy. I mean, he did My Cousin Vinny, and I thought he did fantastic. Good choice of words. I think he did a great job in that, and that wasn't meant to be straight. That was a comedy, obviously.
The Super was another pretty good one for comedy with him. I mean, hey, whoever would have thought a guy that looked like that and was about 2 feet off the ground would be doing a scene where he's getting noggin from Sharon Stone.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true, and they're great. I have a very soft spot in my heart for those two movies, for Casino and for Goodfellas, and I can just keep watching them over and over and over. As a matter of fact, I can close my eyes and see the movie in front of me.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That was from a chat I had with Mitch Markowitz from the hilarious House of Frightenstein and the movie The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Leigh. I'll have more from my interview with Mitch in just a little while, but I'm going to spin you a couple of tracks first. Now, it's important to own your mistakes. This next band I played on episode 5 of the Kasey Ferguson Show and called them the Pride of Omaha, Nebraska. Except they're from Staten Island, New York.
Way to go, a-hole!
I might be Canadian, but I know Staten Island ain't anywhere fucking near Omaha, Nebraska.
McFly!
Fujitsu-san, konnichiwa!
McFly! I was monitoring that scan you just interfaced. You are terminated!
Terminated? No! No! It wasn't my fault, sir! It was Needles! Needles was behind the whole thing!
And you cooperated!
No, I didn't! It was a sting operation! I was setting them up!
Read my
No!
facts!
Please, no, I cannot be fired! I'm fired!
So, we've proven I'm a ham sandwich, and perhaps drinking like a goddamn maniac when I do this show isn't necessarily the wisest of choices, but I say, fuck it, these guys are good enough to be the pride of anywhere they fucking want. So here they is, the heroes of Hershey, Pennsylvania, the bosses of Baltimore, Maryland, the Dukes of Denver, the captains of Connecticut, the kings of Kentucky, and Staten Island, New York's favorite sons. This is Decipher with High on the Kasey Ferguson Show.
I don't get to fly.
Hi, this is Jen Bellamy from Fab Hair Salon, and you're listening to The Kasey Ferguson Show.
Always fussin', always cussin', you're listening to The Kasey Ferguson Show. That was the Day Street Brothel with I'm Alive Because of You. Before that, you heard from Decipher with High. I'll have more from my interview with Mitch Markowitz, star of the hilarious House of Frightenstein and The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Lee, in just a minute. But first, I want to talk to you about a story I came across that really grinds my fucking gears. Frank Mears is an 85-year-old dairy farmer with an ill wife, Marjorie, who owns and works a farm in the Trenton area that has been in his family for 200 215 years. In 1798, it was given to one of his forefathers, John W. Mears, a war hero who served in the American Revolution, by the King of England, King George III. This is before the Confederation and before the CN Rail. The deed granted the Mears family this piece of land perpetually, meaning forever. Well, try telling that to the government. Yes, the powers that be are taking the Mears family farm because the Department of National Defense and the federal government want to build a giant military base on the land. You see, my friends, the government can legally take any property it deems in the public's best interest. Yeah, I'm sure you're doing this for my best interest. What about the Mears family? What about their best interest? And you know, all the feds have to do to make this theft all legal-like is offer someone what they consider fair market value for the property. If you refuse, they'll seize your property anyway, and you won't get half of what they offered. If you or I did this, it'd be called extortion. However, when the government does the same thing, they call it expropriation. Funny how that works. It's fucking hilarious. This isn't just happening to Frank and his family either. The feds bullied 11 other homeowners into selling their property in the area to make way for this super base to be built. The difference is Frank has been fighting the suits for 7 years now to keep his property. Last February, Ottawa filed a notice of expropriation. Only the courts or the Minister of Public Works can overturn this decision. This in spite of protests on Parliament Hill, an article in Maclean's magazine, national news coverage, and a Facebook supporters group to save the farm, numbering over 13,600 people. Sounds like the public has spoken to me, but maybe we aren't speaking loud enough for these gutless bureaucratic bullshitters to hear us. So, let's speak a little louder. Let's turn up the volume on these warmongering cocksuckers. Let's make a little noise and show these cold-hearted thieving vampires how we feel. Let's remind these pencil-pushing parasites that they work for us, not the other way around. Join the Facebook group to help save the Mears family farm. That's MEYERS. If you can't find it, message me and I'll send you the link. This group will keep you updated on the issue at hand and inform you how you can best help the cause. There's a few other things I want to mention about this fucking fiasco. Every time Frank needs access to his farm, he has to deal with a fucking security guard now, put there by the powers that be. When Global News covered the story, they tried to contact the Department of National Defense and Public Works, but the cowards wouldn't go on camera. In fact, the military cops showed up and kicked them the fuck out of there. Also, the government did bully Frank into signing the deed over to them, like he had much fucking choice, but recently he filed an application for signing under duress and to take his fight to a higher court. If the courts fail to do the right thing, then it's up to the Minister of Public Works, Diane Finlay, to overturn the decision. So, Diane, come on, baby. In case I give you a back rub, you know I'll treat you good, mama. Alright, enough ranting for now. Here's the rest of my interview with Mitch Markowitz, star of the hilarious House of Frightenstein and the Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Leigh, on the Kasey Ferguson Show. Beatles or Stones?
Beatles.
Whiskey or wine?
I don't drink, and when I do, I have like one mouthful of wine. I never drink whiskey, but if I have one mouthful of wine, I start to feel it in my shoulders, my arms. Oh, no, I can't think straight.
That's kind of the point, Mitch.
Oh my God.
That's the good stuff.
I missed the point all the times.
De Niro or Pacino?
De Niro. I sometimes think that Al Pacino works a little tiny bit too hard. He's over the top. Now, for all I know, I mean, I'm not there at the meetings, maybe he's been directed to do that. You know, in Scarface, I don't think they would have let him go through that whole movie being so over the top unless that was what they had in mind. And I think that is what...
Yeah, De Palma probably would have caught it.
Yeah. No, I think that's what they had in mind. I don't think I've ever seen De Niro sort of over the top. Maybe the closest they ever came, even then he was just playing the part when he was Jake LaMotta.
Raging Bull.
Raging Bull, yeah. But I can't think of a movie that I haven't thoroughly enjoyed that Scorsese directed and De Niro starred in.
First big concert?
The Beatles.
You seen the Beatles?
Yeah.
No shit.
Here, Toronto, Maple Leaf Gardens. Actually, that was a good choice of words, and I think you probably said it by mistake. I don't think you really meant what you said. But all anybody did at that concert was see the Beatles. Nobody heard them because there were 24,000 screaming girls, and that's all anybody heard, which is what precipitated the Beatles' decision to get out of the business, because there was no point in gigging anymore if nobody could hear them play. So they thought, well, we'll just try going into the studio and just recording. But in those days, when there was a record industry, you couldn't do it that way. I mean, you had to record and then go out and play live gigs to sell the records. One fed the other. These days, with the internet and downloading and all all those other things, it's a whole different world. But I think that tour was the one that was the deciding factor when in their minds that they said there's no point in going back out on the road. This is just too frustrating. And albeit we're getting very rich in this industry, the whole idea was to have a good time and play. And that's what it was all about. So there was no point in playing if nobody could hear them. But I did see the Beatles, and it was a memory that I've regurgitated in my mind for the past 40 years or whatever. They were here in 64 or 65 or something, I think. But that was great.
Kids today won't understand this, I guess, with all the technology that we have out there. But at the time, they didn't make sound equipment loud enough for them to hear themselves or, for the audience to be able to hear them over the screams.
No, that's absolutely true. Now every rock band has got an earphone, and they can listen to themselves instead of having stage monitors, so that they can work that way. And not long after those years, like the next evolution of music, they came out with huge speakers that could cut places like Maple Leaf Gardens and Shea Stadium. I remember Vox came out with huge equipment, huge amps and speakers, and Marshall did. And all the big boys used to play using Vox and Marshall and that system. Here in Canada, we had a guy named Pete Traynor who evolved into a company called Yorkville Sound. And Pete was building great sound systems, great PA systems and great speakers and amplifiers and stuff. So even in little old Toronto, we were able to work big gigs and cut through large crowds. But back in those early days of the Beatles, you're right, they were ahead of their time.
Well, obviously they influenced everything that followed. I mean, any rock band that says that the Beatles weren't an influence, whether they realize it or not, I mean, there weren't any bands. People like, these bands, they forget. There were no bands back then. It was solo artists. You had your Chuck Berry, you had Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, Dion, but there was no band concept like the Beatles or Led Zeppelin or anything that came after that.
No, it's true, and it's interesting because things just keep going around in circles. It's a small world because all those British acts that were getting very famous, like the Beatles and like the Stones, all attributed their inspiration to all the early American R&B acts, the John Lee Hookers and the B.B. Kings, and even half a generation before that, there were lots of great R&B sounds that inspired those British acts, but it just goes around and around and around.
Selling the blues back to them.
Yeah, that's good. Again, well put.
Time for word association. First off, Billy Van.
Is there a prize here if I come up with the right answers? Billy Van, the most talented human being I have ever met.
Rod Godinho.
A very deep, dark, talented human being.
Vincent Price.
A sophisticated gentleman.
Vanessa Redgrave.
Perfect for the part.
Igor.
Igor was a big green bundle of joy.
I think my mom says the same thing about me. Super hippie.
Super hippie. Where did he come from? What did he have to do with Castle Frightenstein? I don't know. I don't know where he came from. Drugs may have been involved. Certainly not on my part, but the audience's part. I mean, it was a psychedelic era, and the world was changing and into that mode of thinking. So we just threw it at him.
Well, very much of its time, but it's aged well, man. It really, that's one great thing about this show is that, I mean, it's still finding a new audience.
That's true. Actually, whenever I do these Comic-Cons or any other type of large gatherings, I'm dealing with original fans who saw the show in 70, 71, 72. They're bringing their children, and in some cases, believe it or not, Kasey, hold on to the table. In some cases, they're bringing their grandchildren.
Okay, is this thing nailed down?
And they're introducing their grandchildren vis-a-vis the DVDs that are available in YouTube and Google, and like the information's out there, the shows are out there. It's just hard to believe sometimes that I'm dealing with 3 generations of fans.
Aaron Poole.
Oh boy, there's a talented guy. I mean, I would not have wanted the task of carrying an 80-some-odd minute film on my back, almost single-handed. I mean, Julian Richings is in there for a very brief shot. Mm-hmm. as the twins. And there were a couple of other characters. There's a knock on the door. There's a sound outside. There's a computer-generated monster outside briefly. But by and large, he's the only human being in that movie that is on screen as opposed to voiceover. And what a chore that is, and what a great job he did. There is a very talented young guy that's going to continue and be very successful in this industry for the rest of his life. I mean, as long as he chooses to continue to be acting and in the entertainment industry, he's going to score one hit after another, and he works constantly. He's a busy guy.
He's a Canadian guy too, right?
Yep, he is.
There we go. Last one, the mosquito.
Bzzz, lunchtime.
Any final thoughts on Frightenstein? Anything you'd like to tell my listeners about the show that they might not know?
No, but I'll tell you, we could end this with one cute anecdote. I have a son who is now 24 years old. About 3 years ago, he opted to go to college, university, and picked the university that was the absolute farthest away from home in Toronto. He wanted to go to Vancouver, to the University of British Columbia. So we agreed, because we didn't really have a vote at that point, and we went out to Vancouver with him, and we stayed for a few days and sort of got him settled in the dorms and signed up at school and everything. And after we left, he was on, I believe, the 4th floor in the dormitory, and he moseyed down. Do people still say moseyed down?
I do.
Okay, he moseyed down to the 3rd floor to where the common room was. And as he walked by or into the common room, a bunch of other kids were sitting around watching a big screen TV. And as luck would have it, they were watching the hilarious House of Frightenstein. And Julian, my son's name is Julian walked in and looked at the screen. And as he walked in the room, I flew by on the screen, I being the super hippie character, flew by on the screen. And he reacted by saying, "Oh my God, that's my father just flying by." And from that moment on, he was treated with a whole new reverence on campus, needless to say. So that worked out well for him, and it worked out well for me. And it's just interesting to think that I went into and hear from people all around North America, whether they be in New Jersey or Chicago or in New Orleans or California or out west in Canada, who write to me and say, you know, I grew up watching the show and I loved it and blah, 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 blah. It's a thrill to have what I consider to be fans and friends all around North America who grew up and are still watching that show. I want to thank you, by the way, for inviting me to do this interview, because I can honestly tell you, I hope nobody else is listening that has ever interviewed me, but this is probably the most in-depth, well-researched interview that I've done, and kudos to you, Kasey.
Thank you very much, Mitch. So I guess we'll wrap this up here. What are you up to these days?
Well, as I said, I've been invited to do a few more of these Comic Cons, and I plan on continuing to do that. And in my other life, I'm involved in the new home industry. I've been directing the sales and marketing campaigns for a number of large international builders for the past 30 years or so. So that's my sort of daytime Clark Kent identity. And then I do a quick change to super hippie and attend these, not in costume, of course, but attend these comic...
You still got that lying around?
Conventions. And no, I'm sure it all...
The wife get you to put it on once in a while?
I'm sure it all crumbled by now. Interesting, though, speaking of costumes, I have friends that are producing the live version of The Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero's famous hit from 1968 hit film. And I was at the premiere of the live theater play about a week ago, and the guys have invited me to do a cameo as a guest ghoul appearance. The show on October 24th, and I'm sort of looking forward to that. So I'll appear with the other ghouls on stage, and then I haven't told them yet, but at the end, when everybody leaves the stage and they come back on to do a bow, and hopefully there's an audience and they applaud and we will get to do a bow. I think I'm going to come on with a Superman bathrobe I have and my Superman socks, so I'll be sort of as close to being in character as you can get to the super hippie character, and I think that'll give everybody a kick and a laugh.
Absolutely. So is there a way that people can keep up with your goings-on? Is there a website or a Facebook page or something?
As a matter of fact, some fans got together with my younger brother, Kerry, and they have created a website without me even knowing about it. They presented it to me on my birthday recently, and it's superhippie.com.
Fantastic. Well, everyone check that out. Mitch, thanks so much for your time, for doing this and allowing me to come to your home and have a chat about Frightenstein and Rosalind Leigh and everything. Very generous man. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, and happy Halloween. Have a good one.
You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. That was from a chat I had with Mitch Markowitz from the legendary TV show The Hilarious House of Frightenstein and one of the stars of the film The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Leigh. I had a blast hanging out with Mitch, and he certainly surprised me when he showed me the Markowitz Museum of Hollywood North. You see, kiddies, Mitch Markowitz is a bit of a collector. In the Markowitz Museum of Hollywood North, you will find Samuel L. Jackson's boots, Mae West's dress, Elizabeth Taylor's glove, Marilyn Monroe's sweater, a collection of old vending machines, every piece of Coca-Cola merchandise you can think of, and much, much more. Thanks again for everything, Mitch. It's been a pleasure to have you on the Kasey Ferguson Show. I still have an interview coming up for you with Rat Pack Records recording artist John Corabi, former lead singer of Motley Crue, guitarist of RATT, and member of Union, and some kick-ass tunes still to come from DILANA, Nathan Down, and the Killer Dwarfs. But before I get to that, I gotta take care of some more business. Not long after episode 6 of the Kasey Ferguson Show came out, I was invited to play a benefit show for the Kingston Youth Shelter, which is a cause that's very dear to my heart, as when I found myself homeless as a teenager, I stayed there. So naturally, I got a little hot when I found out that the band that was supposed to perform after me, Project Paramount, bailed on the cause and didn't perform. Why did they bail on the cause? Well, the reason they gave the organizer of the show was, we're 9 to 5 people. We have to work tomorrow. Because, of course, they're the only people that have to get up and go to work the next day. So Project Paramount, if you're listening right now, let me tell you something, you inconsiderate fucks. You made a commitment to a charity. You promised to perform to help them raise money for their cause. You confirmed weeks before the event. You had plenty of time to organize your work schedules. And you seem to forget. It's not about you. In my 15 years in the business, I don't think I've ever seen a more selfish act. I don't know where your sense of entitlement comes from, but count your lucky stars that I found out when I did, because you wouldn't have made it out the door. I mean, do you really think that the organizers, the volunteers, the audience members, the other people that performed, none of them had to work the next day? What fucking planet do you live on? Whatever job it was that you had to go to the next day, keep doing that, because the music business doesn't need people like you. You're an embarrassment to the term musician. You're an embarrassment to Kingston. Your souls are dog shit. And if you don't like what I have to say, I ain't hard to find. You should take an example from my next artist. When you download this next track at reverbnation.com/Sylvana White, some of the proceeds go to the Half the Sky movement, turning oppression into opportunity for women worldwide. Here is Sylvana White with Fear on the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Waiting on to finally realize that I was wrong. Made a lot of sacrifice, stood up and rolled the dice, bringing the music back in my life.
shit you not. The dot over the lowercase letter I is called a tittle. You're listening to The Kasey Ferguson Show.
If I never felt the pain of not knowing my father's name, if I didn't have to make the choice to run away, from the bruises left behind, I felt abandoned by your side. And if I didn't question why I let you make me cry, well then I wouldn't be, and you'd never see, 'cause now I'm pain free. I can never, never ever, I can never ever be the woman I am. I saw a man with a gun standing there as she fell down, her baby in a home lying on the ground, and I was forced to survive as death came pouring from the sky. And if I didn't stare her in the eyes to say goodbye, then I wouldn't be, and you'd never see, 'cause now I'm pain free. I could never, never ever, I could never ever be the woman I am, the woman I am, the woman I am, the woman I if I didn't eat dirt, if I didn't bleed, if I never loved, felt what it feels like to be hurt, then I wouldn't be, and you'd never see, 'cause now I'm pain free. I can never, never ever, I can never ever be, no I wouldn't be, and you'd never see, 'cause now I'm pain free. I can never, never ever, I can never ever be the woman I am. I could never ever be, I could never ever be the woman I am.
Rockin' and rollin', struttin' and strollin', rammin' and jammin', you're listening to The Kasey Ferguson Show. That was DILANA with The Woman I Am from her new EP, Beautiful Monster. You may remember DILANA from the CBS show Rockstar Supernova, and I'm very happy to announce that DILANA will be one of my guests on the next episode of The Kasey Ferguson Show. Speaking of guests, in a few minutes I'll be speaking with Rat Pack Records recording artist John Corabi. John is most known for his time as the lead singer of MOTLEY CRUE. He's also had considerable success as a member of RATT, Brides of Destruction, The Scream, The Eric Singer Project, 24/7, and Union, a band which featured Bruce Kulick from Kiss and Brent Fitz, who's currently playing drums for Slash. I'll get John on the phone in just a minute here, but first, here is a song from John's latest album, Unplugged. This is John Corabi with Hooligans Holiday on The Kasey Ferguson Show.
Everybody wants a piece of the pie. Can't have mine. I'm on a holiday. Hooligans holiday. I'm on a holiday. Hooligan, yeah. I gotta get away. Hooligans holiday, yeah, yeah. I'm on a holiday. Hooligan, that's right. Nice and sloppy, boys. Cross-eyed derelicts are coming. Iron horse between our legs. And tattoos in black remains are flowing. Every day's a holiday. Everybody wants a piece of the action. No way. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. I'm on a holiday. Hooligans holiday. I'm on a holiday. Hooligan, yeah. I gotta get away. Hooligans holiday, yeah, yeah. I'm on a holiday. Hooligan. Oh, play it, boy. That's right. I like it. Bring it down. Modern times and new blood pumping, only the strong survive. Everybody wants a piece of the action. No way. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. Yeah. I'm on a holiday. Hooligans holiday. I'm on a holiday. Hooligan, yeah. I gotta get away. Hooligans holiday, yeah, yeah. I'm on a holiday. Hooligan, my,
You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. I got John Corabi on the phone. How you doing, John?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Can't complain. And if I did, nobody'd listen. So, first things first, man. Thanks very much for doing this. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me. I know you're a busy guy. You got the Unplugged record out, and you've been touring around. And you were just in Toronto. How'd the show go up there?
It was cool. I mean, we had some unexpected weather that we had to deal with, but even with the blizzard or snowstorm, whatever you want to call it, there was still a bunch of people that wanted to come to the show, and somehow they made it out. I don't know if they drove or they had dogs on sleds or whatever, but they made it, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a little colder than Nashville, eh?
Yeah, I got to admit, it was much colder than Nashville is, and I believe, I'm not real familiar with the changeover, so I don't know what it was, like the metric system. I know you guys use the Celsius thing, but I believe when we were in Ottawa, it was like 20 below. I definitely didn't dress properly either. I still tried to maintain some sort of a rock and roll thing. And
been there.
I totally thought I was dressing properly, but apparently I was drastically wrong.
Now, you've had quite a bit of success as a solo artist and as a member of Union and the Eric Singer Project, a stint as the guitarist in RATT, and I'd like to touch on all of that, but first off, obviously most people know you from your time in Motley Crue.
Yes.
I know, obviously, there was a fair bit of backlash when you replaced Vince, and there's probably a couple of assholes living in Mom's basement in Boise, Idaho, or something that are still brooding about it, but your album with the band is still one of my favorite Crue albums, and
oh man, thank you.
Hey, very welcome, man, and thank you for the music. And you know, I think a lot of Motley fans have forgotten or don't know a few things. Number one, it cost you a marriage. You know, number two, you forfeited your salary while on tour to help keep the band on the road because they were having financial trouble at the time. And even though you had a record deal with the Scream, I mean, you had a young child with diabetes and medical bills that come with that, and you were driving a Ford Taurus that you had 2 years left of payments on at the time you got invited into the Crue. Like, I mean, nobody in their right mind would turn down the fucking gig. Like,
well, you know, it's funny. Every now and then I'll still get somebody that's pissed off. Or, you know, I still, for the life of me, can't figure out why somebody would, like, hunt me down on Facebook and go to my page and take 10 or 15 minutes out of their day to write me a really long, scathing letter about how much of a loser I am for thinking that I could replace Vince Neil.
But they had already got rid of him, right? Like, I mean, you didn't have any say in that. It's not like it was your fucking fault.
You know, the funny thing of it is like there are still some fans out there that have their opinions, and that's fine. And I always say opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, it's like you said, you know, I was a guy in a band that was doing well. You know, we were just starting to break. I wasn't making, you know, money hand over fist at that point, but I believed, and there's a lot of people out there that believe that Scream could have, or maybe would have, should have, whatever, done better had we stayed together.
Yeah.
But the bottom line of it is I did have a son who was diabetic, you know, and there was things in my life that, you know, that were problematic or whatever, and Motley gave me an offer, and I took it. And nobody can tell me that they wouldn't have done the same thing if they were in that position. Now, the funny thing of it is, you know, I still get people that write to me and complain about it or whatever, and that's fine, whatever.
But it was 20 years ago.
I just got a letter 2 months ago, right before I left to go to Europe, and I just laugh at it. It's like, come on, dude! Like, it was some guy wrote to me and just gave me an earful, and I'm like, bro, like, newsflash, Vince has been back with the band for like 12 years, 14 years. Let's go. Get a life. You know what I mean? Come on. But, you know, again, people think that, you know, I was the cause of it. I wasn't. You know, whatever happened between Motley and Vince happened.
Well, and you still don't even know yourself, right? Like, they didn't sit down and say, here's what we said to Vince and here's what he said to us. I mean, you have heard the same stories we have, I guess.
You know, bottom line of it is I'm as clueless today about what happened between Motley and Vince when he left or he was fired. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Bottom line of it is I still talk to Mick on a very regular basis. I still talk to Tommy on occasion. When I see Vince, we're more than amicable with each other. Like, I sit and have a drink with Vince. I'll sit and bullshit with him, and he's totally fine with me. He understands that I had nothing to do with him leaving the band. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't in the room. You weren't in the picture whatsoever. And Motley were fans of the Scream. I mean, you just thought, hey, maybe I can ask them to do some writing with me.
Well, that was initially my whole thing was the only reason why I contacted them was to thank Tommy and Nikki for, you know, mentioning us in an interview that they did. And I just reached out, called them, and basically all I was going to ask was, at some point, the Scream was going to do another record. Would you guys want to help contribute or maybe help write for our next record? That was it. And they called me back and told me, hey, dude, Vince is out of the band. We love your voice. We all have the Scream album. We would love for you to come down and audition. And I talked to my bandmates about it in the Scream. They told me that if I didn't go, I was crazy. All my friends told me I was crazy. My managers told me I was crazy if I didn't do it. And so I went down. I sang 3 or 4 songs with them. They had me come back the next day. I sang 3 or 4 songs with them for their managers, and that night they told me I was the guy. That was it. Done. Over. You know what I mean?
Well, I think I read in the dirt that I think it was the second session you came in with them, they handed you a lyric sheet to Dr. Feelgood. I mean, not exactly the easiest song to just kind of pick up because it's so rhythmic vocally.
Right.
Like, I can only imagine going like, fuck, guys, like, you know, don't you think you could have gave me a Kickstart My Heart or something?
No, well, you know, to be quite honest with you, like, people laugh. I mean, even the guys laughed about it. I was in the band for a year. And, you know, to be quite honest with you, like, if you looked at my record collection, or my, you know, I don't have a record collection, but if you looked at all the songs on my iPod, all the stuff that I listen to is just classic rock. I listen to the Beatles, Zeppelin, Aerosmith, Queen, Bad Company, Humble Pie, Free, Sensational Alex Harvey Band, Mountains, like all these old bands, Sabbath, Deep Purple. So, to be quite honest with you, I was not really familiar with Motley's material. So when they asked me to come down and sing, I asked them to just have the lyrics there.
Okay.
I kind of knew some of their stuff. I was familiar with it, but I didn't know the lyrics. It wasn't like I was, you know, whatever. But I just went down. Like, I to be honest with you, I didn't even think I was going to get the gig because I wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't like Mark Wahlberg in that movie. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was
rock star, yeah.
getting into something and totally familiar with them. I had no idea. I didn't know anything about the band at all. I knew who the members were. I knew that they just did a huge record, Dr. Feelgood, but other than that, I wasn't really familiar with their stuff. So I went down and I sang, and they were like, wow, this is great. And then I played guitar with them, and they were just completely blown away by that.
Well, I think I read that they didn't know you played guitar or something.
Yeah, well, it was weird. It was the second day I went in, I sang with them, and then they were going to just they just brought me in to have me play for their lawyers and their managers and the record people, and at the end of the day, like, they were just going to stop. They were just going to go home. It was like I was there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just kind of said to them, I'm like, fuck, man, we're here. Let's just jam. You know, let's jam for a little bit. And we started jamming and goofing off, and you know, I was admiring Mick's guitars, and you know, he's like, oh, you play? And I'm like, yeah, I play a little bit. And they set up
a little bit. You're so humble, brother.
Tapping a guitar for me, and we just started jamming. And I think the first song we ever jammed was a blues song. It's an old Aerosmith tune called Reefer-Headed Woman from one of the old Aerosmith records, and we just started jamming some blues.
Nice.
And then Mick and I were going back and forth, like, he'd solo a little bit, then I'd solo a little bit, and then I was playing, and they were just like, fuck, you play too. Then we sat down, and the first riff we kind of did was, I had this riff kind of laying around, and so I showed him the opening riff to Hammered.
Great fucking riff, by the way.
That was like the first song we wrote. We wrote Hammered, like, we started working on it that night.
And Misunderstood was the other one, right?
Well, Misunderstood was like a day or so later, but the first 2 songs we started working on was Hammered, and we had that probably like a rehearsal or 2. We had Hammered almost put together, and then we started working on the acoustic. They showed me they had the acoustic beginning of Misunderstood, and they just had the music, and I just started scatting a melody over it, and you know, and it just worked. The second rehearsal, we had already started working on Hammered, and we were jamming and doing all this shit, and it just sounded fucking huge, and they just came in and they said, dude, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Welcome to the crew. You're the guy.
Oh, man. That would have scrambled my fucking eggs.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, when I first bought The Dirt, immediately I flipped to your section of the book, and I was a little pissed off to hear that the guys gave you such a hard time in the studio, not so much on that record, but later on when you went to do Generation Swine, and the disrespect that the record company and people around the band were showing you. I mean, I thought, you know, there would be at least a little bit of reverence there. I mean, you came in and were, you know, like Steven Tyler described of you, you're the guy getting shot out of the cannon, and, you know, you had a tough gig ahead of you, and I thought, you know, people would treat you like one of the boys at least, but it sounds like you really had a tough go with some of the suits and stuff.
Well, look, you know, from a business point of view, I'm not stupid either. You know what I mean? The bottom line of it is the record label, right before I joined the band, probably 5 or 6 months before I joined the band, just gave Motley a new record deal and gave them $50 million.
Yeah, a huge deal.
Yeah, and then suddenly, 6 months later, or 5 months later, Motley comes back to the record label and says, oh yeah, by the way, Vince is out, we got a new singer.
Right.
And come on, man, from a business point of view, you got to understand something. Like, I don't give a shit what it is. If you buy a set of encyclopedias and they send you a set of Dr. Seuss books instead, or whatever the fuck it is, you're going to be pissed about it. You're like, no, that's not what I paid for, especially if you're paying $50 million guaranteed. That's not what I'm paying for.
Yeah, not exactly chump change.
So, you know, I got to be honest with you. You know, when the record label heard the record that we did, they were ecstatic. But there was definitely some apprehension there right from the get-go, you know, and the guys are like, no, just be patient, you know, be cool, be calm, we'll figure it out. And as soon as everybody heard the record, they were like, oh my God, this is amazing, it's great, and, you know, for whatever, I really can't sit and put my finger on one thing that went wrong. It was just everything went wrong at the same time. But the one thing that everybody could see as plain as day, what is different here? It's got to be the singer, you know?
So you became the whipping boy.
Yeah, and it was weird. It was like, you know, Motley's manager, you know, this guy, Alan Kovac, he pulled me into the office and he's like, you know, you're not a star. And, you know, this guy from this magazine said that he saw you guys in New York and you just didn't cut it. And,
oh, for fuck's sake.
And I'm like, well, it's funny because that's the same guy that said that I was like a beast on the first record, like, you know, whatever. So, you know, everybody was so used to Motley being a certain level of success, and that was their first commercial failure. You know what I mean?
Right, but now it's a critical success.
Well, from a musical point of view, it's funny, you know, especially now, like, I'm kind of scratching my head, to be honest with you. Like, the last month or so, there's been some weird undercurrent going on of this record that I did, and I know, like, that website Metal Sludge, they just did a poll or something on their thing and asked the fans to vote on their favorite Motley record, and for some apparent reason, mine just blew away all the other ones. It was like hands down everybody's favorite.
Shit.
And then this other thing, somebody just sent me a link for this website called The Great Southern Brain Fart. They just did a whole review on why the record didn't work or why it did, you know, whatever. But everybody seems now like they're kind of saying, wow, that record now, it's like I can still put that record on today and it's still relevant. And, you know, and like I said earlier, you know, it's just opinions. I don't know why it didn't work then and why all of a sudden now everybody thinks it's great. I don't know why some people liked it, some people didn't. I don't know why people still write to me and tell me that it sucks or it doesn't matter. Like, honestly, I truly, truly believe that if you spend time trying to figure out, like, all that stuff about that record, as much as I love the record and I'm very proud of that record, if I sat here and dwelled on that record, then that would mean that I'm doing nothing but looking behind me, not looking forward. So I don't even worry about it. You know, it is what it is.
Now, it must have been a touch weird to teach Vince how to sing Kiss the Sky.
Honestly, I don't have an issue with Vince. Like, it wasn't weird for me at all. They sat down and they talked with me. They told me what the deal was. They had to bring Vince back. The record label wasn't going to support him. And, you know, the manager said, can you help them finish the record? And I said, yeah, sure. No worries.
Well, see, another thing that the fans should know, you know, you were a team player.
Look, at the end of the day, I was just looking at it this way, too. My name was going to be on, or that was part of my lawsuit. The managers said, you're going to have like 7 or 8 songs on this record as co-writes, help them finish the record, and at the end of the day, because you're so heavily involved in the songwriting, help them finish the record. And as a songwriter, he was basically saying, you'll make money from record 1, Generations Y.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was no thing on me where, you know, the record label was going to have to recoup. I was just going to start making money as a songwriter from record 1. Whether they sold 1 record or 1 million records, I was going to make something.
Yeah, off the publishing royalties, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so that made sense to me. And at the end of the day, I did have my name, like, when we were talking about it, I was concerned, you know what, my name is going to be on this record, all over this record. So I just wanted to help them finish the record, and, I obviously, if my name's on it, I want the stuff to sound good too. So, I was trying to be a team player, but I was being a little selfish as well. I wanted the stuff to sound a certain way and sound great, and I had been involved in writing the stuff with them guys for like a year, so I wanted to help contribute and finish what I started. That was it. I basically just went in to help them, and Vince and I sat and I talked with him, and I told him how sorry I was to hear about his daughter, and, he had no ill feelings for me at all, and I think even Vince has said in his book, he knows I had nothing to do with anything, but he also knew how difficult it was going to be for me to fill his shoes. So Vince and I have always been fine. I've done many gigs with Vince. When he did the Motley Cruise, I was there. I jumped on stage with him. We hung out. We had some cocktails. I've done a few when I was in RATT. We did a few shows together, and I went to Vince's trailer and hung out with him and said hello, and he's always been super nice, super cordial to me. He's been cordial to me. I've been cordial to him, and we're fine with each other. So that's the other thing that kind of bums me out about the fans. Like, I guess they just assume that Vince and I are supposed to hate each other, so they have to take sides, and it's really not that way at all. You know what I mean? It isn't. Like, people ask me all the time, why doesn't Motley play any of my material in their live sets? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're going to have to ask them.
About it.
Now, to me, Generation Swine sounds like a bit of a band having an identity crisis. I mean, I think they really skipped that with the record with you. But I read that Scott Humphrey said when making Generation Swine, he wanted to make an old school Motley rock record. You were there for some of those sessions. Is he full of shit?
I think Scott had good intentions, but at the end of the day, I always believed, and it was funny, Mick and I were just talking not that long ago, and we were kind of rehashing some of this shit, and I told him, I said, dude, like, I love Scott Humphrey. Scott Humphrey is great at what he does. The problem of it was, I felt the guys in Motley Crue didn't respect Scott the way they respect Bob Rock, and Bob had a way of being able to tell all of us when we were working with him, like, if a song wasn't quite right, Bob could tell us it wasn't quite right, and the way he would word it, however he would word it a certain way, and it would make us want to go out and go back and, like, really look at the song again and really dig in and make it better. But when we had the song, he also had a way of making us stop and say to us, guys, it's done. Let it go. Move on to the next song. You know what I mean? And from that point, Tommy and Nicky mainly, there wasn't a respect factor with Scott like there was with Bob Rock. And I felt the Generation Swine record, when we did start it, it was originally, we were calling it Personality Number 9. And I felt that record, even more than the record I did with them, that record was truly the most important record of Motley Crue's career, whether I was singing or Vince was singing, because the one that we did musically was amazing, but it wasn't a success.
Right, and this had the chance with Vince back to sort of be a return to that commercial.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was saying, like, that's, I felt that the record, even when I was in it, I felt that we needed to go back to the drawing board with somebody that Tommy and Nicky truly respected, and somebody that would make us really dig in and work hard, but somebody that could also control all four of us. Bob had a very good way of bringing the best out of Mick, the best out of Tommy, the best out of Nicky, the best out of me, and the best out of Vince. Even when he worked with him before, he had a way and a method of working with everybody. And Scott, I'm not saying anything about Scott's talent, because he's a super talented guy. I just didn't think that he had that part of it quite figured out.
The psychology
part of it.
Gotcha.
You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. I've been speaking with Rat Pack Records recording artist John Corabi. I'll have some more questions for John in just a little bit, but for now, let's get back to the music. Here's another song from John's solo acoustic record. This is John Corabi with LOVESHINE on the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Looking for your smile. Oh, sugar, where's my baby been? like the ocean, waiting for your love to sail on in. Let my love shine. Let my love shine in. Ooh, baby, won't you let my love shine in? Yeah. All right. Oh, baby, remember yesterday? Spoke to me in riddles. The mystery remains. Ooh, sugar, be my oldest friend. You held me in my youth, and you hold me in the hand again, my friend. Let my love shine. Let my love shine in. Ooh, baby, won't you let my love shine in? Yeah, let my love shine. Love shine in. Let my love shine. Come on, girl. Yeah, let my love shine. Ooh, baby, won't you let my love shine in? Yeah.
This is Hank Rotz from the Hank Rotz Project, and I have a new word to add to the English language, shotistry. And you're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Hold me close, tell me that you're sorry, and then that you need to change. I wish I'd known better when it started happening. Why'd you stay the same? The days you and I were alive were taken from us when you denied I would right away. The day you and I said goodbye was put up on us when you denied I would right away. I let you go, and now you're in somebody else's hands, and it seems so strange. I'm better though, I miss your scent and all the good we had. I have more to gain. The days you and I were alive were taken from us when you denied I would right away. The day you and I said goodbye was put up on us when you denied I would right away. I'll get over the part of me that wants to feel you here beside me once again. When I told you that I still love you, I meant every word I said, but I am still afraid to stay. I let you go, and now you're in somebody else's hands, and it seems so strange. The days you and I were alive were taken from us when first when you denied, I would right away. Yeah, yeah,
Penny Peelin and Decibel Dealin', you're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. That was Nathan Down with Right Away. And before that, you heard from my guest, John Corabi, from his new Unplugged record. That was Loveshine. I still got John Corabi on the phone.
I'll believe that when my ship turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet.
In Union, you played with Bruce Kulick from Kiss. Obviously, him and Mick share a lot of the same influences, but how different were they to work with?
I don't know. It's hard to explain, man. I think it's just stylistically, they're just a little different. I think Bruce was really kind of coming into his own, though, as a songwriter. Not that Mick hasn't written any stuff, but like that last record that they did before they put the makeup back on, from everything that I could gather from the Carnival of Souls record, like Bruce really kind of wrote a majority of that record. I really can't say that there's much of a difference, though. Like, they just, like, stylistically, Mick is Mick and Bruce is Bruce. But the one thing that I gotta be honest with you, like, you know, they're both unbelievable guitar players. I think they're both really unbelievably underrated guitar players.
Agreed.
I don't think that I think probably Mick is probably even more underrated than Bruce is. You know, I think Mick is a great guitar player, and I think I would love nothing more than to hear Mick sit down and do a blues record. And I've told him this. I just told him this recently. I'm like, dude, you know, like, if I was you, like, I think that there's a gazillion guitar fans out there that love you already, but if you could show people that you're more than the guy that does the, you know, Kickstart My Heart or Feel Good or whatever, if you could sit down and show people who you really, really are, the guy that I used to sit and get drunk with and play Jeff Beck songs with and different shit like this, you know what I mean? Like, Mick's a great guitar player.
Yeah, I think he said himself he hasn't really been able to show what he could do. And
well, it's weird. I used to sit at Mick's house all the time. We lived together. When I was going through my divorce, I rented Mick's guest house, and we used to sit around all the time in his living room, and he would just play blues. Like, I would just sit there and play rhythms for him, and he would just play solos over them. And if you listen to his solo track on the Quaternary record,
Bittersweet,
called Bittersweet,
great fucking song.
It's very, like, I know what he was going for, and he was really trying to go for, like, that Jeff Beck-ish thing, you know what I mean? And I think that if Mick did a record where maybe a couple blues instrumentals like Bittersweet, and then just did, like, a bunch of stuff, you know, and had a bunch of guest players on there, and just did a blues record, it would be fucking awesome. It'd be amazing.
Fucking A. Well, another guy that you played with in Union was Brent Fitz, who's currently playing with Slash. Have you been in touch with Fitzy, or?
Yeah, we shoot each other emails and stuff like that once in a while. We're all so fucking busy. Like, I was just in New York for 6 weeks, and then I was in Canada, and then I had shows here in Nashville, and this Thursday I'm heading to Denver, doing a benefit there, you know, and then Brent's been touring nonstop with Slash, so it's just been crazy for all of us, you know what I mean?
The kind of ships in the night sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, I still shoot Brent an email or a Facebook thing, or he'll post a photo and I'll comment on it, and he'll comment back, and we're like, hey man, miss you buddy, miss you too, yeah, da-da-da, we should get together. And so it is what it is. We're still great friends, you know what I mean? I still talk to Bruce, I still talk to Brent, and even Jamie on occasion via email, you know what I mean? But Union didn't split up for any other reason than we didn't really make a dent in the music scene at the time, and we just got better offers to make more money doing other things.
Right.
So
now let's talk about this acoustic record. I really do dig some of the acoustic treatments of your songs on this record. Did you have a main guitar that you were using in the studio, a main acoustic, or were you switching it up a lot?
Actually, I used I had a Gibson J165, but my main guitar, man, has been this Epiphone that I had. I still have it. It's a Epiphone Masterbuilt.
Oh yeah.
And even this weekend, I was playing, and Russ Dwarf and his guitar player Robbie, they were talking to me, and they're like, "Dude, that fucking guitar is so fucking fat sounding." And then even the sound guy at Rockpile East, he was like, "Dude, that guitar, like, I totally have your guitar flat." Like, he didn't do anything. He didn't have to do a fucking thing.
Didn't have to touch it.
Don't have to EQ it or nothing. I just plug it into a DI and fucking pump up the volume, and that thing sounds amazing.
You prefer the bigger bodied acoustics?
It just depends. I mean, you know, I used to have a J200 too, but it got destroyed in a plane travel. But it's just weird. Guitars are weird, man. Like when I used to work with Gibson guitars, they would send me out and I would do like acoustic things for them. And you know, when I first started with them, they were like, "What kind of guitar do you want?" And I said, I want a J200." And they literally sat out 10 guitars that were numerically one after the other. They were exactly the same wood, same finish, same everything, and they all sound different.
Yeah.
So basically, there was 8 or 10 guitars there, and I tried them all, and I played them for a few minutes, and there was like 3 or 4 that I thought like felt good, played good, sounded good, and then I just narrowed it down to 1, you know. And I don't know what the deal is with this Epiphone, but it's just that one guitar. It just sounds really fucking good. So that's like my main kind of go-to guitar right now.
Well, it certainly sounds great on the record. Another thing about this record is it really highlights your voice. And I mean, I'm a singer too, and I've had a bunch of trouble, but I wonder with such a high-impact singing style, if you've had vocal trouble in the past, and if you have any special warm-up routine or post-show remedy to minimize the damage to your vocal cords.
Oddly enough, I probably do everything wrong, you know.
You and me both.
I do warm up beforehand. I always try to like steam up in the shower and you know, when I'm getting ready, and I'll do some vocal warm-ups at the hotel, and then I'll do some more right before I go on, and then I try to warm my voice down. But like one of the main things for me is sleep. Now, I don't know if you can tell right now, I'm feeling a little rough right now, like tired and a little hoarse. It's from all the travel, the weather that was up there in Canada this week. And in the last 24 hours, I probably slept about, you know, well, actually in the last 48 hours, I probably slept like 8 hours.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that when you don't get sleep, your cords swell.
Yeah. So, and then you're talking, and like I've been talking in airports and on planes and da-da-da-da, and, you know, so I haven't really had a chance to like lay down or go to sleep or whatever. So I'm going to go out and take my girlfriend out to dinner and then try and have a cocktail or two and make myself tired.
Good man.
And get a good night's sleep. But, you know, I think the main thing is like if you can just kind of do your show and like for me, like I said, warm up, warm down a little bit, and then after the show, like I don't always follow this, but I really try to keep the talking to a minimum, especially like if you're in a club and another band's playing or they're playing music and you're yelling over everything.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst thing. Talking on the phone, that's another one. It's like I try not to talk too much on the phone when I'm at home. You know what I mean? Just take it easy and try to use my voice as little as possible. But I kind of baby myself a little when I'm on the road.
Well, yeah, you have to, right? Like if you're doing multiple nights, man, like I've had gigs where I could barely talk and, you know, just barely got through the show. You know what I mean? Like somehow, you know, singing, I was all right, but to try to talk to somebody, you know, my notes are dropping off. And
well, it happens. It does happen. But I mean, for me, it's weird. Like I'm strange. Like I'll start a tour in the first couple of days, like two days in, 3 days in, I'll get really, really raspy.
Yeah.
But the more I use my voice, the more I sing, the stronger my voice gets. So by the end of the tour, there's songs that I may have difficulty with in the beginning of the tour. By the end of the tour, I'm just singing like a bird.
Well, it's a muscle, I guess, right?
Yeah, it is. Your voice is a muscle, and the more you use it, the stronger it gets. But you got to kind of pace yourself too. And like I said, I try not to drink too much. I never drink before I go on. If anything, I'll have maybe a glass of wine, or maybe if I want to drink, I'll have like a scotch or something like that, just to make myself tired to go to sleep. Tequila. But I don't do it every day, you know what I mean? But the main thing for me is I gotta have sleep. I gotta have like 7-8 hours every day, or I'll just fall apart.
Yeah, same here, man. You're also working on a new electric record, right?
Yeah, I'm in the process now. I'm trying to get some material together. I'm probably gonna write some material with my buddy D.A. Carcos, who helped me out immensely on the acoustic record. And you know, there's a few ideas that I've had sitting around. So I just want to get into a room now with a couple of buddies and just start bashing shit out and see how it goes. But I'm actually probably going to get a new rehearsal room. And I had one, but the guy sold the building, so I had to get a new place. But
oh shit!
I'm going to start working on that in the next week or so.
Fantastic. So you're a ways off. Yeah, we're looking into.
I'll have a record by 2014. You know what I mean? So I just got to get in there. You know, I'm very excited. I'm going to have my son playing drums with me. He's stoked. Nice. He's chomping at the bit. He can't wait to get out there and start playing. So it's going to be cool. And my agent's already booking. Like, I've been booked for some festivals in America and the cruise and just a lot of stuff. So it's going to be a good year. It should be fun.
Whiskey or wine?
Depends on how fast you want the buzz. Ozzy was right.
Fucking right. Wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker. Beer or liquor?
Liquor.
Beatles or Stones?
That's a tough one because I love both of those bands, but for me, I lean a little bit more towards the Beatles.
De Niro or Pacino?
Again, a difficult one because they're both great. Now, if you would have talked to me in 1972, I would have said Pacino. But I think overall, like, body of work-wise, I don't know. I think De Niro is still a badass.
I'm with you on that one. Your pick for an underrated album?
Motley Crue, 1994.
I concur. I'd have to say probably one of the most criminally underrated albums of all time. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass because you're on the phone.
Well, for me, though, underrated record... Well, there's a few, but I mean, honestly, pretty much anything King's X has ever done. I love King's X. I think that band is completely underrated. And this may surprise some people, but, like, I think Aerosmith, Rockin' a Hard Place, was an underrated record, even though I know Joe Perry and Brad Whitford weren't involved in it, but I thought the record was still great. And then it's funny, like, I thought about it for a while, but I love Seven Dust. And
I've seen them live, man. They crush it.
Yeah, and they've had a couple of records that I just sat there and I'm like, oh, man, I think this is going to be the one for these guys. I think, you know, and they still sell consistent amount of records, but I never understood why they weren't bigger, like with a lot of the metal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, like, there's a couple of Seven Dust records that I kind of scratched my head about as well.
I thought that tune Black was going to be such a big hit for them, and it didn't really quite get there.
Well, what was the record that had Christmas Day on it? And then they did Angel Sun.
Oh, the tribute to Straight there.
The record as well. I can't remember. I can't remember which one it is. There was a song on it called, I think, Tits on a Boar. I don't know, but like when I heard that record, I'm like, this fucking record is amazing. And I just, for the life of me, couldn't figure out why it wasn't bigger.
Your epitaph will say.
I think my epitaph will say, here lies a good guy that tried hard.
Time for word association. No, you're a big fan of this guy, Paul Rogers.
Unbelievable voice.
Sammy Hagar.
Unbelievable voice.
Tommy Lee.
Unbelievable drummer. Like, the guy amazes me.
Saints of Los Angeles.
I haven't heard that record, so...
Oh.
I can't tell you. No, I know who the record's by, and I know what the deal is with it, but I've never heard it, so I can't comment on it.
Skid Row, because I didn't know that you were asked to join these guys.
I love those guys. They're great guys, but in parentheses could be one of my early mistakes.
Another band that asked you to join, Brittany Fox.
Good friends. I mean, I've known those guys for years, so...
I would have a hard time imagining you singing Girls' School, though. I just think you've always had so much more to say than...
That was all Dean, and you know, oddly enough, Dean was in my first original band, but he was my drummer. So there's a little tidbit of information.
Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but did you have some heat with Tracy Guns?
Nope.
I don't know where the fuck I read that now. What about Peter Steele from Typo Negative? They were on tour with you guys, weren't they? For some of the crew?
Very funny. Peter Steele was a very funny, dry sense of humor guy, man. He was awesome. I dug that guy. I was sorry to hear what happened to him.
Of course, I got to ask you about Nikki Sixx.
Nikki Sixx, talented, very clever, very shrewd.
Complicated guy?
Nikki?
Yeah.
Yes, many layers on that onion.
That's a good way of putting it. Bruce Kulick.
Awesome. Love Bruce. Sweet guy. Amazing guitar player. Underrated.
Mick Mars.
Probably one of the sweetest human beings you'll ever meet in your life. And, again, totally underrated.
Generation Swine.
Good record. I would say, let me just put it this way. In one word, I would call that record experimental.
Eric Singer.
A kook. I love that dude.
And, of course, last but not least, Vince Neil.
Nice guy. Like, I get along fine with Vince, and I want to put that, dispel any thoughts or inclinations that we don't like each other. So I genuinely like Vince. When I've been in his company, he's been nothing but stellar to me, and I think he feels the same way. There's been a few incidents where we got on stage together and we jammed, and he's been nothing but nice to me. So I have nothing bad to say about the guy.
All right, man. Well, I'll leave you be. Like I said, have a good time with the old lady. Thanks so much for doing this, man.
No worries, brother. Thank you.
It was a true honor, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
All right, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, you're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. That was Rat Pack Records recording artist John Corabi on the phone. It's almost time to pull the pin on this episode of the Kasey Ferguson Show.
It's Miller time.
Hell yeah, it's Miller time. Usually on this show, I have you guys send in some drinking catchphrases, but I forgot to put the call out this time, and it's a little late now. So here to lead us in our cheers is Johnny Depp and Ray Liotta. Everybody grab your drinks.
May the wind always be at your back and the sun upon your face.
And may the winds of destiny carry you aloft to dance with the stars. Cheers, Georgie.
Cheers, pal.
But let me just quote the late, great Colonel Sanders, who said, "I'm too drunk to taste this chicken."
I'm going to spin you a couple more tunes before I blow this popsicle stand. John sort of alluded to these guys during our chat, so here are the Killer Dwarfs with Sky is Falling from their latest album Start at 1 on the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Sing this song, go insane. To me, it's just the same.
everybody. This is Al Duquette from Al Duquette and the Honky Tonk Blues, and you are listening to The Kasey Ferguson Show.
See her out on the streets, come for the wild time. Every person she meets is come for the wild side. Why is she with them when she could just be with me and not a nighttime friend? I'm going downtown, nighttime friend. Schooling, I'm schooling downtown, nighttime friend. Hey baby, you going downtown on the nighttime? Says, baby, wanna go for a ride? She takes one look at him and hits for the wild side. Why is she with them when she could just be with me and not a nighttime friend? Going downtown, nighttime friend. Screwing, I'm screwing downtown, nighttime friend. Hey baby, you going downtown on the nighttime? Telephone. I say you seen him hotels last night. Yeah, but not alone. Why is she with them when she could just be with me and not a nighttime friend? Going downtown, nighttime friend. School, I'm doing downtown, nighttime friend. Hey baby, you going downtown for the nighttime? We're on a nighttime friends. Going downtown, nighttime friends. I'm screwing downtown, nighttime friends. Hey baby, you going downtown on the nighttime?
Wop to the loo bop wop bam boom! You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. That was the Trevor Walsh Group with Nighttime Friends. And before that, you heard from the Killer Dwarfs with Sky is Falling. Well, that's it. That's all for this episode of the Kasey Ferguson Show. I'd like to thank my guests once again, Mitch Markowitz and John Corabi. Something Ugly will play us out with a tune called Freedom. Remember, it's only an island if you look at it from the water. Until next time, this is Kasey Ferguson. Over and out.
There's danger when you're lonely. I wish somebody had told me that I'm not your one and only. You won't see me anymore. We get chased across the plains of freedom until we reach those hills of age. Somehow, somewhere, let you slip away from me. You know I search for you for days, 'cause your freedom is all you really need. Your freedom is all you really need. Freedom is all you really need. yeah, freedom. Well, I guess we've reached an end here. There's no point in going on. So please stop trying to pretend, dear. 'Cause in the morning you'll be gone. 'Cause your freedom is all you really need. Your freedom is all you really need. Freedom is all you really need. Freedom, yeah, freedom.